Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about part 2 of the big holy grail roadmap of Dev Diary amping up alliances. So this entire post is effectively dedicated to alliance and alliance gameplays and future of alliances. Now this post is very long and there's a lot of fluff in it, which I reasonably believe doesn't really serve anybody too much. But the whole point of today's video is I read it all and I did it so you don't have to. We're gonna go through the main points that's changing, my new piece of information that we have found out, and kind of like my impressions about it. So first and foremost, the initial bit is all of this, there's nothing special or specific or interesting. So battle group assignments, now we knew that's coming. It's already released June 29th, so starting today you can assign battle groups to players, which is going to be super helpful. I myself today just joined the wrong battle group. I was all the time for like years in battle group 3 and I am now in battle group 1, so yeah, just purely by muscle memory I joined the wrong battle group, and if I had a pop-up warning window that wouldn't have happened. So our first-hand experience of how that could be useful, but again we already knew that. Now top alliance champions, again we knew this one already. It's already available in the game, I believe, where you basically just kind of like in your profile select X amount of champions that you want to use or that are your best options for AQ attack, AW attack, AW defense. I will try and test this out into a video and upload a separate video how it like works practically and what I think about the mechanic. Now path assignments, that is something that they are planning for future. It says aiming for 2020, so hopefully we at some point this year will see an actual path being assigned to players in Alliance, like Quest, Alliance Wars, and that could be really helpful as well for sure, especially if you do happen to change them now and then, or you have recently changed the team. Now defender placements sounds something that would be really cool in future as well. With the introduction of top alliance champions, we're going to take those selections and begin to remove pain points for alliance management for leaders and officers. Top alliance champions will open the doors for more quality of life features, like one that allows alliance leadership to place assigned war defenders directly into defense. Now that is something that would be amazing, because we have all, I believe, had those instances when somebody forgets to place defense and everybody ends up chasing them, and it's kind of like a big stress point in alliances, and it's just like one of those things that could lead to something very nice and enjoyable in future. So for sure that is something I would be looking forward to. Now codename AQ officer, we want to make your lives easier, remove the monotonous tasks that alliance leadership is expected to do. We're working on features that will allow you to set up next round of alliance quests for all 3 battle groups ahead of time. This would be awesome as well, so there don't have to be somebody who is always around every day at the same time starting the alliance quest, so on and so forth. So yeah, I think more of these the better. Yeah, aiming for 2021 though, so this is something that we're not going to see this year for sure. Hopefully we can see next year. War Rehash season 19, everything about War Rehash here we already know. It sucks. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for them. They even themselves say defensive tactics basically have failed on every single aspect, and instead of actually listening to summoners and removing them, they're doubling down and adding offensive tactics. But yeah, updated Alliance War season rewards. If I was them, I would have honestly not include this point, because obviously large portion of community is outraged by that update, and this post also implies that the season rewards will not get updated for season 19, and that sucks, to put it mildly. Alliance War pain points, defensive tactics definitely are pain points. Now a couple of interesting things. Obviously they again repeatedly have said that they aim to improve the speed they are amending changes for Alliance War and problem nodes and problem defensive tactics, so on and so forth. So that would be great to see. They are talking about designing a test environment, which is exciting, which is something pretty much everybody could use, because how many times before a tricky Alliance War fight people have to go and duel X opponent, but that still doesn't exactly simulate the environment because it doesn't have any nodes, doesn't have the same mastery, so on and so forth. So they are talking about designing some sort of specific environment, but kind of like a training room where you'll likely be able to select a defensive champion, nodes on them, and then go and practice. And that would be perfect. That would be one of the biggest and greatest changes in game period, because then you could go and practice against not only your alliance war fights, but you could also go and practice your harder quest fights, like champion boss, for instance, or something. So that would be amazing to see. That definitely would be amazing to see. And while the Season 19 War Refresh has not addressed most of the issues, we assure you that we are looking at specific short-term solutions to address these pain points. So they are saying that they will amend most of the nodes, well, not most of them, most of the pain point nodes before Season 19 starts. I hope they do. As far as I can see, the rewards are not going to change for Season 19, and neither will defensive tactics and offensive tactics. They do say that their overall goal is to make sure that the offensive tactics are overall more useful than the defensive tactics are hindering. But the thing is, currently none of the offensive tactics are actually more powerful than the defensive tactics. If anything, it's kind of like the other way around. The defensive tactics are so much more potent and troublesome than the benefits offensive tactics offer, that the offensive tactics are hardly worth mentioning. Just like I said, that flow one. When you land a heavy attack, you place a small petrified debuff on your opponent. You need for 10 seconds. So you need to land basically 3 heavy attacks within a period of 10 seconds to completely shut off flow. And that's just impossible in a regular matchup, often, if you need to bait opponent's special attacks out, let alone in a matchup where, for instance, opponent is stun immune or debuff immune. So yeah, the offensive tactics currently are just quite useless for the most part, in my opinion, especially in most of these specific scenarios. Now, they are talking about future alliance wars where they're going to try and tear it down and rebuild it up again, and they're comparing it to what they did with dungeons to incursions. So with Alliance War, I'll be honest, I'll believe it when I see it. They have said a lot of beautiful things about Alliance War, but it has gotten progressively worse, more boring to worse. I was glad when Alliance War was getting stale and boring, because that meant they're not making it worse, which pretty much exactly knew the progression level has been. They changed the map, it got worse. They added defensive tactics, it got worse. They started changing the defensive tactics, it got even worse. And now we have this new map, new nodes, and it definitely just doesn't seem enjoyable. And again, specifically for Alliance War, for the rest of the things I can listen to and I can try and be hopeful as I possibly can. But when it comes to Alliance War, I'll just take it one day at a time. When something actually is going to get implemented in a game, I'll discuss that. When it comes to that future vision, it all sounds nice and all, but fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So yeah, that is pretty much the situation with Alliance War, and I'm just not going to talk about it now. Changes to Alliance Quest. Now again, they are saying a lot of nice things about changing the idea of Alliance Quest in general over the future, but again, we don't have like much certainty about these future visions, what they're trying to do, because none of them have actual details or deadlines, stuff like that. Now, there are a couple of things that we do know that are going to happen. There are going to be several champions replaced that have been proven to be tricky, like Mesmerize and Mephisto, for instance, or Vivified is going to get tuned down from 200% to 100% power rate. Can't Stop, Won't Stop is going to get changed to a degree. Mesmerize is going to get changed, and we're going to have Mixmaster instead of Mesmerize, plus Prove Yourself. So there are going to be some lane changes that you guys can read over here. If you want to read it word by word, then you can just pause it here. But I'm sure there's going to be a separate announcement for that when they actually release it. And this is said to be aimed in August. Now, there are going to also be some more significant changes with Alliance War Energy. And first and foremost, the cap of Alliance Quest Energy is going to get increased to 6, which I think is perfect. And starting energy is going to get increased to 4, which is a very good compromise in my opinion, and energy timers are going to get decreased to 45 minutes, and that will make such a huge difference, because for me, I typically go to bed about 2 hours after Alliance Quest starts, right? That means I have 5 energy period, which is the minimum amount required for me to finish tier 1, and I do have to be careful that I don't accidentally waste an extra energy step, otherwise I'm going to have to stay up an extra hour, for instance. Now, this change in Alliance Quest energy automatically fully kind of like relieves my pain points personally with Alliance Quest, because I'm always fine to deal with tier 2 and tier 3 the next day, because I'm working then. I can do it on my way to work, on my first break time, and my lunch time, and then we're pretty much done. But the first AQ bit, section 1, is where I personally have problems with it, and the simple fact that I'm going to have an extra energy to begin with, and then within 45 minutes I'm going to have the 5 energy that I typically use instead of within 2 hours, or even then if I happen to waste an energy initially, within an hour and a half I would be able to get to 6 energy already, I think. And yeah, that is quite a good compromise. It's definitely quite a significant change in my personal opinion. And yeah, also if you do happen to get delayed initially, obviously the quicker energy refresh and the bigger max capacity will help you to catch up the day after quicker. And there is also going to be a big change, in my opinion, with link nodes. For map 6 and map 7, they are removing first set of link nodes, and that's great. That means you can move without waiting for somebody at first. And they're going to be restructuring map 6 link nodes as well, which is going to be awesome. I don't generally remember how map 6 nodes worked, so I can't comment on it too much, I'll be absolutely honest. But the fact that they're getting rid of first sets of link nodes is great. I hope it's like full on for section 1 link nodes are gone, period. If it's only the first set, I would still be happy. Anything that makes AQ kind of like more streamlined. This might not be exactly what everybody wanted, and I believe Kaban themselves say that they are looking to change Alliance Quest in the future. However, this is a good compromise, and this is a step in the right direction, and this is something that will also help me personally with my day-to-day Alliance Quest. So yeah, I'm quite buzzing about that. That's good. What else we have? We have mid-season update. There is going to be new modifiers, which is kind of like take it or leave it situation. It's not like we have a choice which modifiers we run, because they're getting selected automatically, and it's not like we have a choice whether we want to run the modifiers, because everybody else is, so you always have to. So again, it's kind of take it or leave it. Modifiers I don't think has brought anything great, but more honor reward milestones are going to be good, which means we can probably get some more TFIB or something. That's great. Mini boss changes is perfect. That was the one thing that I was worried about Alliance Quest, because current mini boss system, I don't like the mini boss in map 7 at all. Especially the thing mini boss, I think, is just torture, unless you're kind of like running 1 or 2 specific champions. But even the fact that you need to take those champions in, I don't know. I just hope that make those mini bosses more reasonable, because the current ones outside of Omega Red's fine. Annihilus is all right with some mystic champions, but Thing is definitely a pain in the bunghole. So yeah, hope they do change those mini bosses out and make them actually interesting. Alliance Quest future, some sort of seasons, that's fair enough. Then what else? Alliance Quest challenges, the new direction we want to focus on current content creation. Provide Alliance with means to build challenge they want with rewards, time, investment. And again, it's just a lot of fluff there. They can say Cooperation's King and champion usage. Now this, I hope, becomes reality though, because they're saying that they want us to bring more different champions in Alliance Quest and kind of like not be punished or not feel that we would get Alliance stuck. So I want to see how they try to achieve it, because there are obviously always champions who are better than other ones, and currently with the current system of Alliance Quest, you just basically want to get your lane done, and you want to do it as cheaply as possible. If they can somehow circumvent the increased cost aspect of bringing in some worse champions just for the fun of it, that would be great, but I don't realistically see a way of that happening. But again, none of these principles, how features attached yet or any release dates, and that is kind of like a common theme for most here. So outside of the very short-term specific changes which I mentioned, changing out some champions, changing out some nodes, changing the energy on Alliance Quest, this thing doesn't really tell us anything specific, which again would be my biggest pain point with these roadmaps in general. But there is something that does sound quite hype, that does sound quite good, and that's going to be raid bosses. Now again, they don't really have any specifics about it at all in design, no confirmed launch window, so we don't know what's going to happen with that. But the whole idea of massive scale battles where entire alliance is taking down like massive kind of like boss on a map, that sounds great. I'm very excited for it. I hope they finally implement it. This would be kind of like I believe the original version of what they intended for bases to be. And yeah, this is something I can get behind with. Again, I am very, very, very cautious when it is to getting hyped, just because of the amount of disappointing things that Kabam has put in front of us. But if executed properly, I think this could be like the dominant, the most fun, the most interesting alliance mode. Hopefully it's also in keeping with the level of rewards that we get from other modes. And yeah, it could have a great potential to be something interesting. Link nodes rework, they again want to make sure that link nodes are not necessarily as punishing and can actually award skillful play in a sense, but I'm not sure exactly. They don't know exactly what they're going to be doing with them either. Again, in design, no confirmed launch window. Undo button, now that is great. That is something I think that we are long desperately needing for. There is no feeling worse than mistapping on the map and ruining the plans for your battle group. We want to change that. We are exploring ways we can help players that might have accidentally headed down the wrong path. Press undo and walk back to their unfortunate choice. That's amazing. That is something, again, that is a quality of life improvement that I think we long deserve. But again, it's in design, no confirmed launch window. Everything is in design, no confirmed launch window. And the last bit is quite simple. It's just a help all button. It's coming, so that's cool. So we're gonna get help all. But yeah, that's what we effectively have here in front of us. Again, there's a lot of fluff, a lot of we feel, we want, very little of this is what's going to happen. But the whole idea that Alliance Quest energy refresh 45 minutes, plus we start with 4 energy, plus we have a cap of 6, I think is a step in the right direction. Removing initial nodes is going to be extremely helpful as well, because the very beginning of Alliance Quest is always kind of like the most hectic one, where you're waiting for everybody to kind of like join up. At least for me personally again, and I assume for many other people. So I'm happy for those changes. That is good for sure. Now mid-season update, when we can see rewards, revamp, new modifiers and some other things. Again, I'm gonna get hype for it when you actually know what's gonna happen. Currently I have literally zero emotions in me when they say we're gonna have new modifiers, and like whatever. Alliance war change, so they're going to be nerfing some nodes that we identify as problem nodes before Season 19 starts. I don't think they're going to be changing anything to defensive, offensive tactics or the reward structure in Season 19. Hopefully they do afterwards, because they absolutely shafted everybody with Alliance War Season rewards who is like Gold 1 and below, I think. So hope I would have absolutely loved if they actually reworked it and increased those rewards for lower tier Alliance Wars, because currently as it stands there are dozens of thousands of people who have literally no reason to actually go and try the Alliance Wars. So hope they fix it, but again, they have done such an abysmal job with Alliance Wars for a very long time. So again, I'll believe it when I see it. Overall, there are some things that you're definitely going to get potentially excited. The raid thing sounds really interesting. They're again giving us a lot of promises and stuff like that, but we'll see what actually works, what doesn't. This roadmap is leaving me with very similar emotions of the first one. There's very, 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 very little details for such a large amount of text. There's even less confirmed implementation dates and deadlines. And there's very little new information in general. The raid system obviously is something that can get you hyped, but again, I'll get hyped once I actually know when is it coming and what is coming there. For now, yeah, if you ignore all of the Alliance war part, if you just focus on the fact that raid system's coming and some immediate AQ changes, pretty much all they're gonna get live next month, I think. So yeah, I think it's overall a good information given to us in a very, very blown out way, but still there are a lot of positives. So overall, I'm definitely happy. And no, I'm not super hyped, mega hyped. I'm not gonna squeal like a girl. I'm not gonna put 79 oh my gods in the thumbnail. I'll leave that for the hype man. But again, realistically looking at it, it does look like things are about to get easier and better, hopefully, and most importantly, more fun. Not always necessarily chasing the easier. I like challenges, I like hard content, like hard quests, but fun is what this game has been lacking for a really long time. I'd say pretty much since Act 6 came out, and hopefully they can make it more fun again. But that will do for today. I don't want to keep you guys any longer, so let's jump here. And as always, here's some baby Yoda as you are looking at this beautiful, beautiful creature. Hit that like button. Why don't you? Hit that sub button, hit all the buttons, drop me a comment. What do you think? Are you super hyped? Are you super excited about the roadmap and the new things coming to alliances and our quality of life changes? Do me a huge favor though, please share my channel with your alliance mates and friends and everybody else who you think might be interested, because the more the merrier. All of that helps me greatly. I do appreciate all your support, and the more people watch my videos, the more people can comment on them, and the more ideas we can discuss in comment section, and the more videos I can make that you guys want to see, and all of that works out. So spread the love, spread the channel, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya.